Sevastopol's dawn silence doesn't break with thunder. It shatters under the howl of aircraft engines. High above the bay, in the pre-dawn sky, white canopies hang suspended. It is not a paratrooper drop. This is death by parachute. June 22nd, 3:15 a.m. The morning air in Sevastopol still carries the scent of sea salt and acacia. High on Mount Petri at the weather station, the city lies in the palm of a hand. The watchman opens his logbook. His hand reaches to write. Thunderstorm. He sees heat lightning pulsing rhythmically over the horizon, over the harbor. He presses the binoculars to his eyes so hard, his fingers go numb. The flashes are too precise, too rhythmic, too frequent. In their glare, like black drops in milk, the silhouettes of bombers emerge. Searchlight beams begin to dance over the bay. This is war, and it has arrived here 50 minutes before the official announcement. The planes in the pitch-black sky carry no ordinary bombs. Inside their bays lie LMA magnetic mines, 1 ton of steel-cased explosives each. They descend into the water on silk parachutes, almost silently. A 1-ton magnetic trap designed to turn the harbor into a cage. One mine drifts off course, Podgornaya Street. A flash. 21 people vanish into the dust 12 minutes before the war becomes official. This isn't a storm. It is the beginning of 50 years of silence. Hitler expects to lock the fleet in the bay, turning Sevastopol into a mass grave. But the wind carries one of the mines towards civilian homes, Podgornaya Street. Officially, it is still peacetime, but on Podgornaya, 3 houses are already gone. The first civilians have fallen, 21 people, children and adults, the first of 27 million. Their blood is soaking into the Crimean dust right now. In Moscow, Nikolai Kuznetsov grips a document that will later be known as Directive Number 88. Every word on this page feels like a blade against the throat. The task of the troops is not to succumb to provocations. Do not open fire. Wait. The system demands that Kuznetsov freeze and wait. In the Kremlin, the marshals are terrified that any reckless move will provoke Hitler and trigger the war. In the shadows of the neighboring offices, the secret police, the NKVD, are already watching. One wrong move, and he will be branded a provocateur. The price of a mistake, the firing squad. Meanwhile, Hitler is waiting for the Soviet fleet to suffocate inside its own harbors. Kuznetsov, the 36-year-old People's Commissar, faces a brutal truth. If he follows the order, the fleet will be annihilated. If he breaks it, he faces a military tribunal. 10 seconds to choose. Kuznetsov looks at his watch. In the residential streets of Sevastopol, the mines are already detonating. Yet Moscow commands him to endure. But Kuznetsov is no mere cog in the machine. He feels the weight of every battleship as if it were his own body. He understands one thing. Stalin can be wrong. The regulations can be late. But he cannot. He picks up the receiver. He doesn't call for permission. He gives the order. Switch to readiness state number 1. Open fire immediately. Without Stalin's sanction. Against the will of the Kremlin. Sevastopol. 3:48 a.m. Admiral Oktyabrski shouts into the receiver to Kuznetsov. "We are being bombed. The raid is ongoing. We have opened return fire with everything we've got." On the deck of the cruiser, the radio operator hesitates. He knows the text of the directive. Do not succumb. He is terrified of becoming an accomplice to a crime against the system. An officer rips the logbook from his hands. "Transmit it. On my responsibility." If the fleet had delayed by even 30 minutes, those magnetic mines would have sealed the channel. The ships would have been caught in a steel trap. But Kuznetsov had raised the readiness level back at midnight. Above the bay, the sky is a web of fire. The German pilots are in shock. Under Plan Barbarossa, they were supposed to find a sleeping fleet. Instead, Soviet guns are already raking the heavens with lead. Beneath the flagship's keel, a ton of explosives. The mine's magnetic sensor has already detected the massive steel hull. Seconds to detonation, but the fleet made it. Not a single major ship was lost that night. This was the triumph of the individual over the system. Kuznetsov broke through the bureaucratic concrete and saved the Navy. The youngest admiral proved to be the most mature man in the country, while regiments on the land borders were perishing under bombs before they could even draw ammunition. At sea, Hitler received his first crushing blow. Commissar Kuznetsov is 36 years old, the youngest admiral in the world. Behind him, 5.5 million German soldiers, 4,300 tanks, and 5,000 aircraft are already tearing across the border. He has shown foresight, courage, and independence. And for this defiance, the system will never forgive him. While chaos reigns in the high commands, while pilots on inland airfields scramble around their planes, burning in perfect rows because they lack the order to take off, Sevastopol is already raking the sky with lead. Kuznetsov had declared state readiness #1 at midnight, 3 hours before the first explosion. His ships aren't just ready, they are hungry. But after the war, Kuznetsov will be stripped of his command, humiliated and demoted. He will be accused of the very thing that saved the country, his independence. War has a cold face and a very long memory. We say, 27 million dead. It's a statistic, but think about it. If we honored the memory of every single one of them with just 1 minute of silence, the entire world would go quiet for 50 years. Kuznetsov saved millions of others from joining that minute of silence, simply because at 3 o'clock in the morning, he had the courage to break an order. Half a century of silence, without a single word, without the sound of a child's laughter. A vast planet plunged into mourning until the year 2076. The first 21 minutes of that silence belonged to the residents of Podgornaya Street in Sevastopol. The civilians who perished before the invasion had even officially begun. Admiral Kuznetsov, hero or criminal? Military regulations are written to prevent an army from turning into a mob. Now, what happens when the regulations become a noose around the nation's neck? Even today, historians argue, did Kuznetsov have the right to violate Directive number 88? By the letter of the law, he was a criminal. From the perspective of history, he was the savior of the fleet. What do you believe? Should an officer blindly follow the letter of an order when the very existence of his people is at stake? Or is the highest form of valor the courage to become a lawbreaker to save others? Tell us in the comments. Did an officer have the right to defy the supreme command to save his men? Or is order more important than life, even if the price of that order is defeat? This is what a decision looks like. Real men, real history.